Here we are with our budget spreadsheet, part two. And if you completed part one, you should have your different borders here for your different sections, your income, your expense, and your amount left to spend sections. You should have also typed in your labels, and these labels would also be highlighted and centered and bolded in different spots. So here now we're going to type in our values. We are not yet going to calculate anything. That is going to be part three. So first thing, if you read through the worksheet, I am actually going to go ahead and give you $50 in monthly allowance. Your second source of income, you should have come up with your own type of income that you can do. It could be babysitting, mowing lawns, raking leaves, extra chores, whatever it is, that's something an actual middle schooler could do. And how much do you think you'll be able to make from that each month? So babysitting, I'm going to say every couple of weekends that may happen, and I'm going to say $120. Now I'm typing in numbers here, and if they're popping up with dollar signs, that means I did my correct step. If they are not, I need to make sure I change that to what's called currency format. I can do that two different ways. I can click on the dollar sign right here, or if I go to format number, I'm going to check mark currency, and then it will automatically put a dollar sign and some decimals for the cents behind it. Now, total monthly income, for right now, I'm going to leave that blank. And as I'm going through the worksheet, it's going to continue to tell you some scenarios for your different things. So for example, how many times each month each of these things are going to happen. So I'm going to put savings into my savings account once a month, and it's going to be a certain percentage, but for now that's going to be a formula. So I'm going to leave that blank. When I go to the movies, you are, believe it or not, being required to go to the movies 2 times a month. And each time that costs you $7.50. And you'll notice my dollar sign is appearing. My lunch, if I go through there, it says I can go no less than 4 times a month. So I'm actually going to say 6 times because I want to go a few extra times. And to go through, that is $3.50 each time I go through and grab lunch. Then you get to one of your student choice activities. This is where you came up with something that you would do each month, some sort of activity, whether it's bowling or going to the golf range or having your nails done or any sort of activity that you might be able to do each month. I'm going to say I'm bowling twice a month, and each time I bowl, I know that cost me around $12. So I'm going to type that in there. And then something that I really enjoy as an extra expense. This is something you would spend money on that's not necessarily an activity. And if you didn't come up with this in part one, you can come up with it now in part two. But I'm going to say I get coffee a couple of times a week. So I'm going to say I do that 12 times a month. And each time I go, it's about $4.25. Now, one little trick here is if you are typing in numbers over here on the left side that are times per month, but they're popping up as dollars, as currency, you may have accidentally turned that into a currency format. So to undo that, so here I'll accidentally turn these into dollars, but I don't want these to be dollars. I'm going to go to format, number, and I'm going to say automatic, and then it will automatically detect, oh, okay, those are supposed to be just values and not actual currency. Everything else on here are just formulas, so I'm going to leave these blank for now. As I'm going through, if you read the worksheet, step 2 is where it explains how to do your currency format, which is this tool right here. And step 3, 4, and 5 are also showing you how to highlight certain rows and make them bold. And you highlight rows by clicking on the row number over here on the left side. And then once you have these values typed in, you are done with part 2, and you can move on to part 3.